What is going on? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video, and today I want to give you guys a bunch of games to recommend that are not only cheap games, but also games that are pretty underrated in my opinion. Now, with going through this list, I wanted to pick a title that was good for everyone, whether you're a retro gamer or someone that's more into modern titles. Of course, with all these games I'm going to recommend, a lot of these games are going to be below that $10 price point. However, if you do look for these online, there's a good chance they may go a little above $10. Now, with recommending these games as well, unfortunately, some consoles are more expensive than others, so you will notice that certain console generations may not get as many game recommendations on this video, but of course the goal is with this list is to recommend something for essentially almost anybody, whether you're somebody that enjoys shooters or more retro titles. I'm going to try to cover my bases right here with all these games that I'm going to recommend to you guys right here. So without further ado, let's dive right into this video subject and take a look at some cheap, underrated games that you guys should definitely check out right after the intro. Now, the first game I want to recommend to you guys is ZombiU. This was an incredible launch title for the Wii U back when it came out in 2012. It would get releases later on for the Xbox One and PS4 digitally and would simply be known as Zombie. However, when you get this game for the Wii U, it really utilizes the Wii U gamepad so well that I am willing to argue that this game has the ultimate experience on the Wii U. The game is all about you trying to survive a zombie apocalypse in London, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was a solid horror title. I think it is incredibly underrated. It was such a fun game to play through, trying to collect different supplies, going through the different places in London. The game was so much fun. It's very easy to find cheap, and of course, it's a very underrated title as well. Now, this game certainly caught me by surprise when I checked this one out and played it, and that is Hyperzone. Now, the Super Nintendo has been known to have some pretty decent shoot-'em-ups on the console itself. Now, with Hyperzone, this game offered a 3D perspective for the shoot-'em-up genre with its 2D sprites, which I gotta say reminded me a lot of Star Fox, but from a different perspective brought from HAL Laboratory. Now, if the name HAL Laboratory sounds familiar to you, that is because that is the development studio that has worked on the Kirby series. And with Hyperzone, that is a game that shows that HAL Laboratory has worked on other projects before in the past besides Kirby. This is a game I certainly recommend that you guys do check out, especially if you're into shoot-'em-ups. Pretty solid game that is really cheap, and I would be willing to say this one is a hidden gem at that too. Now, another great launch title that is very cheap and underrated to pick up is MotorStorm. When this game came out in 2006 for the PlayStation 3's launch, there were certainly some people that really enjoyed MotorStorm and certainly picked up the game as well to add to their PS3 libraries. However, I think as time went by, I think the game got pretty overlooked by what the PS3 also had to offer with games such as Infamous, Uncharted, and the like. Now, with MotorStorm, this is a game that emphasizes off-road racing, whether you are racing in a car, an 18-wheeler, or anything along those lines. I think the game is very fun, and I think you can have a great time playing MotorStorm. What is nice is that, sticking to the theme of this video, this is another launch title that is underrated and cheap to pick up, and I have to say, I think you will have a great time giving this game a chance. Now, when somebody asks me about underrated games from the 8th generation of gaming, this is one that I always go to all the time, and that is Titanfall 2. This game was so much fun back during its time, and I think, unfortunately, it got overshadowed by other popular launches at the time, especially with games such as Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1. What I like about Titanfall 2 is that it added a campaign campaign that gave a phenomenal experience that unfortunately Titanfall 1 did not come with was a campaign, and with the multiplayer of Titanfall 2, I feel like it was more perfected when compared to Titanfall 1. The game had an incredible experience whether you were playing the campaign or the multiplayer, especially with the multiplayer. It was so much fun whether you were playing attrition or capture the flag. I really enjoyed the different weapons that you could choose from, and then of course when you had access to the Titan, how you could jump in and things would really change. Now of course, if you guys want to see some more great game recommendations for games from the 8th generation of gaming, I've got another video that you guys can check out right here where I give even more recommendations of not just games that are fun to play, but also underrated as well. But if you haven't played Titanfall 2, you got to do yourself a favor and at least play the campaign. I unfortunately am aware that if you try to play the multiplayer online in this day and age, it's going to be very difficult to find a match, but of course the campaign will still deliver on a great experience. Now, this is a game that I believe got heavily overshadowed by the heavy amount of shovelware that was on the Wii back during its time, and that is Counterforce. Yes, you can clearly tell that this game is a very low budget title, but of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't offer a great experience. This game does indeed play a lot like Space Harrier, but of course there is some motion control, to help you navigate throughout the different stages and courses, but the game itself is very fun. While I will admit you're not necessarily going to be playing this game for the story, not that the story is bad, but let's face it, if you're playing a game like this, you're here for the gameplay, and the gameplay certainly holds up for a very low budget title. I guarantee you that if you walk into your local mom and pop game store, it's not going to be hard at all to find this game for a very low price. Now, if you're looking to get the most bang for your buck out of all these games right here in this video, I think this game right here gives you the best value, and that is the Rare Replay Collection for the Xbox One. This compilation title has so many great games on it. I'm talking about games such as Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark, Viva Pinata. I gotta say, if you're looking for a lot of great games for a really low price, you simply cannot go wrong with Rare Replay Collection. Now, a lot of people picked this game up back in the day, not necessarily to play the game itself, but because it came with the Halo 3 beta. I'm talking about Crackdown on the Xbox 360. This game right here is so much fun with how you are able to level up your agent by taking out different bad guys, and how you are able to collect agility orbs, and how you are able to do these different tasks to make your agent even faster, stronger, and to be the best agent that you possibly can be, while taking out multiple factions across the map of this game. It is so much fun. I think it is plain sad that a game this good has flown under the radar that much. I will admit there isn't really much of a story to this game. Not that the story is bad, but the story helps explain why you are running around a giant city being a super agent, taking down a bunch of people. Now, of course, if you are looking for some more underrated Xbox 360 titles, I got another video that I'll recommend to you guys right here, where I will even show you even more underrated Xbox 360 titles. But for now, you can't go wrong with a game such as Crackdown. Now, here's another game from the same development team as Kirby, and that is Defender 2 for the NES. This game is an arcade port of the original Defender 2, and the game is all about you trying to gun down different alien ships and try to save as many humans as possible from the alien invasion. Now, of course, since we are talking about an NES game right here, the gameplay is very simplistic, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the game isn't fun itself. If you are looking for some underrated titles for the NES, I think Defender 2 is a great place to start, especially since we are talking about some budget-friendly games right here as well. I was very intrigued to find out about this game, so of course I did have to give it a try, and I was very pleasantly pleased by how well the game is, so of course I had to recommend it right here for you guys. Now, if you ever wondered if there was a game out there that was like F-Zero and Mario Kart put together, well, look no further with this title right here, which is Quantum Redshift. This exclusive title from the original Xbox's library is literally if you were to put F-Zero and Mario Kart together. Now, granted, the power-ups aren't going to be as cool and interesting as Mario Kart, but they certainly do their job and help you progress throughout the tracks. Of course, it's also very fun to be zooming around the tracks in your futuristic vehicles, shooting different power-ups and using them to help you gain that extra advantage. I will say, if you're looking for a pretty solid racer off of this list, then look no further with a game such as Quantum Redshift. I think there's going to be a very good chance that you'll have a very good time and have a smile with what Quantum Redshift has to offer. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. Please be sure to check out these videos here, and here. After all, I post a lot of content when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So be sure to keep an eye out every Monday and Friday where I upload consistently, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.